The reason I like to make these videos, which are giving you more general advices and things that you wouldn't hear from anybody else than just like, spitting straight facts, which I've already done for the last few years on all of my YouTube videos, is because these things are just not told by anybody else. Now look, when we're in our schools, if we had some better guidance, if we were able to kind of save a few more months, a few more years of our life into doing something productive, into doing something right, we would be way happier and we would be way farther ahead than anybody else, because the competition is growing every single day. In my school, essentially, when I was studying in India, we didn't really have the option of learning a foreign language. And I know in many of your schools, especially the students who are already in schools or even like students who are in universities, you are now getting more and more options to learn a foreign language. And I don't see any reason why you shouldn't use that. The reason behind it is that coming from India, most of the times you're already fluent in Hindi or whatever regional language you learned, and English. These two things you have to be fluent in. And I'm telling you one very important thing, because of course I talk about learning German and practicing German and so on. But if your English is bad, you're already doing something really, really wrong. So the first thing that you have to really focus on, if you're dreaming about going abroad or if you're dreaming about just going to another country, start a new life and so on, without English as an Indian, you will not get anywhere. You have to work on your English. There's no reason in the world that you shouldn't be doing that. Find friends with whom you can speak in English. So, funny story, back when I was in school and I was, I think, in the 7th grade. So I had a friend called Yaman, and he has been my friend since we were in 5th grade. The interesting thing was that we were the only two people who wouldn't laugh at each other when we were speaking in English in the school, and that really helped us. Like, even though our English was really broken at that time, but we were the ones who were practicing. Of course, we also had other friends, and in the starting, everybody wants to get together and they want to come up with these ideas. Okay, we're only going to speak in English so that we can make our English better and so on, and our English improves over time. But others falter out. Others start laughing when you make mistakes, things like that. But with me and Yaman, it used to be completely different. We were very serious when we would take up a project, and that's what we did. So we would really, really focus on kind of just speaking to each other in English, and we actually did it for a very long time, to a level that we kind of got really comfortable with that. So even if you're not having your native English speaker or something nearby, because 99.99% of the cases you wouldn't, find somebody you can practice with, or you have to then practice it on your own by writing conversations, by writing things down, by recording yourself, by recording something, then watching it, listening to it, and seeing what kind of corrections you can make. This is always a process. You try to do something, you figure out the mistakes, and you improve them. If you can find a friend, if you're in the school, if you're in the university, and you only can speak to them in English, do that. It is very important. English proficiency is one of the most underrated things that you generally find in India, because yes, all of us learn English, but the level of fluency we have in English, that differs massively. Even when I was doing my master's in TUHH, I couldn't believe that there were some of the Indian students who were in the university who couldn't even say one sentence right. And of course, they had to clear the IELTS exam, or they would have to have the medium of instruction certificate. So work on your English. That's very, very important. Second thing you need to do is you need to pick a foreign language. It's extremely important. No matter where you're doing it, no matter how you do it, you have to pick a foreign language. And you have to see the utility behind it. Now, from foreign language, I mean German, French, English. Anyways, you have Spanish. But for example, if I really think about it, think about the countries which have Spanish as the first language and are doing economically very well. You wouldn't really find any. Even Spain has very high unemployment rate, the entire South America. Most of the people move from South America to Europe, to US, so that they can live a better life there, right? That's the entire point of immigration, that you want to move to a place where you're able to live a better life. Now let's take the second language, French. French also has some kind of point, because of course you have France, you have Canada. So many people also speak French in Canada. There's an entire French-speaking Canadian side, so you have that. And then you have some other countries which were the former colonies of France, where French is also spoken. So that could also be a language that you can think about. Now, German is, I think, one of the better foreign languages in my opinion, because when you learn German, you first of all get access to the complete job market and the complete community of people living in Germany, in Austria, in Switzerland, and parts of Belgium. So, and this is just the parts that we know. Like if you go to North Italy, you will find a lot of people who are speaking German. In Romania, in my experience, we have met also a lot of people who have learned German in the schools, or they also speak German because of some kind of connections they have to Germany. All of the bordering countries. In Denmark, for example, when we just recently moved, and Alina's grandparents, they cannot speak English, of course, so they were able to communicate with people in German. So German really has a very high significance if you're thinking about people being able to speak it and people from other countries also learning the language so that they can communicate with Germans, right? All of the neighboring countries you can already count. You can count Denmark, Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, Switzerland, then parts of France if you're taking a look at the western side, in Denmark and Netherlands, right? So in all of these countries, Luxembourg and everything else, like in many of these countries, you will find people at least at the border who are able to speak very well German. And if you know the German language and you don't know the local language and maybe they don't know English, then German is going to be a way where you're able to communicate with many people easily. That's why I say German is actually a very important language, because German economy has been doing very well. The companies that Germany has been established all over the world. So if you end up working in a German company in your own home country, the chances that you would someday end up going to the headquarters in Germany is also higher if you're able to show that you can add specific value to that company. And that is, of course, knowing the German language. So German indeed has a lot of utility. German, then you can take a look at French, and I think towards the end I would say Spanish. Because on the one hand, there are a lot of Spanish speakers in the world, but if you're really talking about the, let's say, economic utility of the language, I personally find it a bit lesser unless you're going towards the tourism side and so on. French and German, I think it's still much, much better. And German, I would say, really takes the first place. And if you're talking about all foreign languages, then of course English comes at number 1, then German, then French, then Spanish. So really focus on these. I mean, my dream would be to also get fluent in one more language at least, like, maybe French or Spanish, till the time I'm getting to 30. I'm 27 right now. And the languages I can speak fluently right now are only Hindi, English, and German. But adding more languages, this is something that will always stay with you. This is something that many people don't understand, that if you're investing in a skill which you're able to keep with yourself for the rest of your life, that has the biggest return on investment than anything else. And don't waste your time in pretending to learn the language. That is, you download Duolingo, you download Babbel or something, or whatever online apps are available. I don't see the sense of it, because you're just pretending that you're learning the language versus how much you actually learn. It's a day and night difference. So don't waste your time. Don't pretend that you're learning a language. If you want to learn a language, buy proper books. Buy the A1, A2, B1, B2 and so on. Buy these books for every single level. Sit down with them, sit down with a dictionary, sit down with a notebook and start studying. Tell me one single subject in your entire lifetime, during your school, anything else, which you were able to learn just like that without memorizing anything, without picking up a notebook or a pen. Why do you think you can do it differently now? It's stupid. Yes, these apps or whatever online materials are there, they kind of make you believe that you can learn German in a fun way, or you can learn any language in a fun way or something. But if you're not sitting down on your own with a notebook and a pen, you will never learn anything in your life. It's as simple as that. So focus on that, focus on learning German, focus on learning French, focus on improving your English, and then any other languages which come to your mind, you focus on that, because all of these are important languages and they just open your perspective of the world. It just opens more doors for you. If you only know the regional languages, you can only speak to the people in your own region. If you know English, you can now speak to a lot more people. If you know German, you can now speak to some of the parts which are not so connected or are not so internationalized, so the more traditional parts of the German society. And it's not just Germany, it's Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the neighboring countries. Then afterwards you take French and so on. That's how you expand the reach into the world, your own reach into the world. and that grows you as a person. And of course, if you want to start learning German, you can use the link given below to enroll in this completely free mini course that we made for you. It just has 5 simple lessons and 10 key concepts. With that, you're able to learn German much faster than anybody else. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.